How's it going, everyone? My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily. What is up? Okay, quick programming note. Just to let everyone know, there will be a new type of show. It's going to be a video show coming out very soon. It will be uploaded on YouTube and places like that. It's called We Are Raiders. War. That's what it's called. I'm already doing my video shows for the Raiders Daily Elite. I do the Raiders Daily video show there. Unfortunately, a lot of you people in the public don't get to hear those fantastic shows where I just, they're just amazing. You would have known about Hurst and Arden Key not being on the Raiders team anymore, 3 weeks ago. But anyways, let's get right into that. So, as you all are aware now, the Raiders have released Hurst and Arden Key. Now, Arden Key, no surprise, John Gruden hated him. The guy always looked good in camp, didn't show up at games, and all the guy really did was tickle Deshaun Watson's toes. Hurst, well, the writing was on the wall when the Raiders really brought in a bunch of defensive linemen, and it looks like they're going to add a defensive tackle in the draft. There's just no room for Hurst. Now, I'll tell you one thing about Hurst, though. I really, truly believe this. I think Hurst is pretty good. I don't think he's a bad player at all. Arden Key, he's a guy that I think could be good. He just, for some reason, can't get there, and I don't know why. He does take terrible angles, and he's bad at tackling. Maybe that's the reason. But Hurst, I'm telling you, don't be shocked if in 2 years he's on a different team, and all of a sudden he's doing very, very well. I would not put it past him. If I was the Raiders, I would have kept him for this season. Just because it looked like he was showing a little bit of signs last year of he was getting better. Now, I know previous to that, he wasn't playing very well. But last season, I think he didn't play excellent, but it seemed like he was starting to find his groove, and I would have kept him for one more season. But the Raiders chose not to. They wanted more veteran leadership there. They signed a bunch of guys, don't forget. They got Yannick there, who's just going to be spectacular for that Raiders defensive line. They got his best friend there, and then you got Salomon Thomas. You got a bunch of guys. I know Quentin Jefferson, Salomon Thomas, they're not these big names, but they're all on these one-year prove-it deals, and that's something the Raiders continue to do, and it works out. They did it with Nelson Aguilar, and look what happened to him. This guy, the Eagles fans hate him. They still do. Had nowhere else to go. The Raiders, John Gruden told him, hey, listen, you come here, I guarantee you a one-year prove-it deal. If you play up to your potential, which I know you can, you're going to get paid the following season. And he did. The New England Patriots, they just completely overpaid for the guy. The Raiders did have an offer on the table, but the alligator is heading to New England. Now, will that be a good thing for him? He's going to have Cam Newton throwing him the football, it looks like, unless the Patriots do draft a quarterback and just start that rookie quarterback. But I still don't think that's going to happen. Either way, even if they did draft a quarterback, I think they're going to roll Cam Newton. And I got to tell you something. I get a lot of slack here for being a Derek Carr hater. Well, one thing you can't say about me is I always say this: Derek Carr makes these veteran wide receivers look good. They like playing for him. Just go down the list of veteran wide receivers with Derek Carr. Yes, Jordy Nelson that was a bad, he was done. He signed with the Raiders for a paycheck, and that was about it. But go all the way back to James Jones. Remember him? That guy had a spectacular season with Derek Carr. Then you got guys like Michael Crabtree. He is good with veteran guys. Jared Cook. Derek Carr is good with these guys. So, a guy like Willie Snead coming in, I think he's going to be good. I really, really do. I think Willie Snead has the potential. I know, he's coming off not a great year. The guy had an up and down career so far. His first year at the Ravens, he was really good. I think the first 2 years he was good. Then he fell off. Then he came back, not quite as good. Then he had a kind of a good year, then a bad year, then, injuries. You name it. But the guy really never was consistent. I think this season with the Raiders, I do think this guy is going to be good. I really do. I can see him being that Michael Crabtree type for your Las Vegas Raiders. We shall see, though. He's going to have competition. There's no doubt about it. Look at the wide receiver depth chart. And remember, we got the draft in less than 2 weeks now. So I just think John Gruden won't be able to resist, and he will grab another wide receiver in that draft. And that depth chart's already loaded. You got Henry Ruggs that you drafted last season in the first round. Now, Henry Ruggs, as you know, not the greatest route runner in the world. That's something he was supposed to be working on all off season to get better at doing that. Hopefully it did, because right now he's more just a guy who does go routes. But also, speaking of Derek Carr, when Henry Ruggs does, perform these go routes, Derek Carr's got to connect with him. Too many plays left off the field last season because Derek Carr simply either overthrew Henry Ruggs. Pretty much that's what he did all the time, is overthrow him. And I don't know how you do that with Henry Ruggs. But, when you look at the tape, not all of them were Derek Carr's fault. I've noticed a couple of plays where he overthrew him, where Ruggs kind of stops halfway and then starts running again. There's no reason to do that. No one's catching that guy. Nobody. So just run straight. But the thing is, you can't just have a guy who's a burner who runs straight. He's got to start getting better at his route running. Not to mention, you got Bryan Edwards, a guy the Raiders didn't want to show a lot of last season. You got to see him when Marcus Mariota came in the game. That's because they were playing pretty much backyard football. But I'll tell you one thing, the Raiders are really high on him, and if he can stay healthy, Bryan Edwards is going to be very, very good. But the key word is staying healthy. He was injured all, through his college career. But, he had every scout I know, they really like Bryan Edwards coming out of the draft, but the injuries scared all these teams away. That's why the Raiders got him in the second round. Then he got injured last season. Let's hope that is something that does not go into this year. He did get hurt last year. Hopefully it's nothing really bad that's still lingering. Hopefully he doesn't get injured again. That's the gamble. The Raiders, they went for it. Because if he's healthy, he can be really, really good. He can be one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. John Gruden knows it. The Raiders know it. And so do all these other teams. They all like Bryan Edwards, but his health was a big issue. A big issue. It's like, speaking of the draft, we got the draft coming up. What will the Raiders do? Most think they're going to take a tackle in the draft, offensive lineman. I hope not. I know they have to eventually in the draft. Just hoping they don't do it if they stay at number 17, which is not a guarantee by any means. They could trade out of the first round. You just don't know. So just don't lock them in right now. That's why these mock drafts drive me nuts. No one has ever had a perfect mock draft. It's impossible to know. You don't know who's going to call or what's going to happen. It's stupid. I don't even look at them. They're so dumb. But anyways, if this offensive line class in the draft is loaded. So if I'm the Raiders, I get a guy in the second round. Why go get this guy from USC in the first round? No need to do it. No need to do it. Instead, if he falls there, which is a big if, I really like the linebacker from Penn State, Parsons. I think that guy could be the future for the Raiders. But, listen, how many times have I said this throughout the last, even dating back to Reggie McKenzie? For some reason, when there's a linebacker on the board, the Raiders simply don't draft the linebacker, even though it's a need. Now, right now, you can argue, well, it's not a need. They got Nicholas Morrow, they got Kwiatkowski, they got Littleton. But who's to say Corey Littleton is going to be good? Because last year, he was garbage. So who's to say this guy's going to just turn it around just because Gus Bradley's there? I don't know if that's going to happen. I hope it does, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But every year, the Raiders do this. Remember, they took Clelin Ferrell, and they had a linebacker who went to Tampa Bay right after them. And that guy's amazing. Well, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name right now. Devin White, I believe his name is. But he was right there. Right there. Amazing linebacker. The Raiders could have they should have drafted him instead of Clelin Ferrell. I mean, that's a whole nother story. What do they do with Ferrell? What do they do with him? Now, I do know, here's some things I will tell the public shows. I do know the Raiders are looking at it as is, they might move him to the outside on some packages, see what he can do. But, I don't know if that's going to happen now. With this whole virtual off season, this is really bad for the Raiders. John Gruden needs to get his hands on these guys and start coaching them, and he can't do it virtually. He needs these guys in person. So let's just hope that, this virtual off-season thing isn't going to be the entire off-season. If it's the entire off-season, I don't have a lot of faith in this team. There's too many young guys on this roster. I mean, even Jonathan Abram, if you really think about it, he's played one season. One season. And he wasn't that great, was he? For all the talk he does, he wasn't that great. John Gruden's sick of his mouth. That's why they brought back Karl Joseph. There's only one reason why they brought that guy back. A lot of Raider fans are confused. They think Karl Joseph is going to be the free safety. No. They didn't bring back Karl Joseph to be the free safety. Now, in certain packages, he's going to have to be, but that's not going to be his role. His role is going to be strong safety. His role is to basically keep Abrams in check and say, listen, if you're not going to do your job, I will. That's what's going on there. John Gruden always liked Karl Joseph. Big problem was the guy really didn't do much until his final year, and then he got hurt. So the Raiders were not going to pay this guy big money. He wanted big money. He didn't get it. Went to Cleveland. Didn't work out. Crawls back to the Raiders. Raiders sign him pretty cheap. And now they have someone to mentor Jonathan Abram, who's scared of Karl Joseph. That's why the Raiders really signed him, to be honest with you. I mean, that's the truth. So, when you look at this draft coming up, now we know the Raiders have needs. Yes, right tackle is going to be a need. No doubt about it. Now, personally, I think the Raiders will be just fine. Brandon Parker looked pretty good out there. Also, don't forget that Denzel Good also can play right tackle. But yeah, go draft someone, groom them to be the future right tackle. You already have Colton Miller, who got Derek Carr's extension. He got paid. So, I mean, that's where we're at right now. Speaking of Derek Carr, like I said, he never got his extension. If you remember, it was being reported. It was all over Twitter that Derek Carr and the Raiders agreed on an extension. Meanwhile, all the people I ask, they say bullshit. They say it's not true. And sure enough, it wasn't true. It's not true. Derek Carr did not get an extension. Now, it would have made sense for the Raiders to give him a 2-year, 3-year extension and just pretty much give the money up front because of the cap. It would have saved them some money. But that says a lot when John Gruden does not even do that. Derek Carr is only under contract till 2022. And after this season, the Raiders can pretty much move on and save almost $20 million. So, this is it, guys, for Derek Carr. He's either got to do something spectacular this season, or the Raiders are going to go in a different direction. I can almost promise you that. Even if he got the extension, by the way, it would have been the same thing. It would have been the same exact thing. Because there would have been, like I said, it would have been all guaranteed money. So his base wouldn't have been that bad. And then if he sucked, they would have simply traded him for whatever next offseason or released him. Now with none of that protection at all, and with zero dead cap after the season, the Raiders saved $20 million. Don't think for a second the Raiders are going to just simply go with Derek Carr with no extension, nothing, knowing that he's going to be a free agent in 2022. He's not going to start in 2022. No, with no extension, nothing. There's no way. Why would any team put themselves in that situation? So what the Raiders are doing here is they are simply waiting to see if Derek Carr can lead this offense to the playoffs. Because now that they're in Vegas, and Vegas is reopening, there's concerts going on there, soccer games going on in that stadium, you name it. It's going to be open. It looks like there'll be fans in the stands. So this is going to be a big year for Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders. They need to get fans there, Raider fans, not just tourists. You can't have a home field and, 60% of it is fans of the opposing team. You can't do that. And you know what? They're in Las Vegas. So it's going to be hard not to do that. That's why the Raiders got to work, in my opinion, the business side of things. I think the Raiders have failed so far in capturing and getting fans in Las Vegas excited about the Raiders. They finally got an NFL team. They got to capitalize on that. I know they have an AM radio station, but come on. No one's listening to AM radio in Las Vegas. They're not. They're not listening to it. Hate to break news to you, they're not. There might be Raider fans that listen to it. Like, you might listen. I'm talking to you right now, Raider fan. You might listen to their shows. But you probably don't even live in Las Vegas. So it does them no good. It does the franchise no good. But there's one thing, besides the AM radio station, whatever. I mean, they could put me on there, and I could probably, well, come on. I'm the best in the world. They put me on there. Everyone would listen. But anyways, that's a whole other story. What the Raiders really need to do, and I'm being serious here, is they need to win. They need to go out there and start dominating. This team has sucked for way too long. And it's time the fans really start holding this team accountable. It's time the fans start holding John Gruden accountable. This guy got paid $100 million. $100 million, you should not be, you should be in the playoffs every year. Not, desperately trying to beat a winless Jets team. It's embarrassing. Derek Carr's been in the league for, 7 years now? How many playoff appearances? 0. I don't care about his stats. Every time we talk about Derek Carr, someone on Twitter wants to pull out stats. Well, guess what? Put stats in context. Because most of those come in garbage time when the Raiders are down by 40 points. And the only stats I care about is wins and losses. I don't care if Derek Carr plays just as good as Trent Dilfer. Why? Because Trent Dilfer at least has a Super Bowl ring. That's the only thing I care about. I really don't care about stats. I care about wins and losses. So the Raiders got to start winning. Now they have 2 teams in their division that are going to be dangerous. They have the LA Chargers, who, by the way, they were looking to pick up Willie Snead. That's why John Gruden signed them. And you got the Kansas City Chiefs, who just lost the Super Bowl. You know they're going to come out firing. One good thing is every time a team loses a Super Bowl, you know they end up sucking the next year. I don't know if that's going to happen with the Chiefs, but still, that's one good thing going for the Raiders here. But they got to win. You got a quarterback you paid $120 million for. You got a coach that's $100 million. You got a beautiful new stadium. Mark Davis seems to just listen to whatever John Gruden says, which is very dangerous, by the way. Someone has to do something. If this team does not make the playoffs again in 2021, I'll tell you what's going to happen right now. John Gruden is going to point the fingers at Mike Mayock, because Mike Mayock hasn't really been doing that great in the draft. He'll be fired, and then he'll replace Derek Carr. And what if that doesn't work? Who do you blame from there? But you know what's going to happen is if they draft a rookie quarterback, it buys John Gruden 4 years, because that's his whole motto. He needs a quarterback in his system for 4 years to see if they're good or not. That's why Derek Carr is still there. That's why, last year and the year before, people thought, oh, John Gruden's going to get rid of Derek Carr. I knew it was all BS. He wouldn't have done that right then. There's no point. There's no point. You might as well teach. The guy's already there. And Mark Davis likes the guy. People like Derek Carr. He's a nice guy. So why not try making him into your quarterback? But now that he's in his 4th year of the system, if the Raiders lose, I'm telling you, John Gruden is not going to point the fingers at himself. He's just not. Behind the scenes, he's not anyways. He's going to point the fingers at Mike Mayock and Derek Carr. He gets rid of Mike Mayock, brings in a different guy. They draft a quarterback. It buys John Gruden 4 years. Mark Davis tells the fans, oh, patience, patience, patience. But guess what? You know what happens? You want to know what happens when you're telling fans, oh, just, sit there and take it while you lose? That stadium will just turn into a tourist destination for whatever team they're playing. You will never have a home field advantage. If the Raiders don't make the playoffs this season, say goodbye to the Raiders' home field advantage. Say goodbye. That won't even be a Raiders stadium. It will just be a neutral place for the opposing team to go play, and their fans can go take a weekend in Vegas. That's what it'll turn out to be. There'll be about 20% Raider fans there, but they won't own the stadium like they did in Oakland. They won't. They won't. I promise you this. Now, they can turn all that around if they win this season, just like the hockey team. I don't watch hockey, but, they have a pretty good fan base there. Why? Because they won their first season. Now, the Raiders did not win their first season. Luckily, there's no fans in the stands. This year, when there is, they're going to have more primetime games. People are going to be watching. So that's why this draft is crucial. The Raiders must hit on this draft. When you look at it, what are this team's needs? They need a safety. They need a free safety. There's about 2 of them worthy of going in the first round. The Raiders probably could trade back and still get, the guy from TCU. Morig. There's not a ton of safeties there. There's about 3 worthy of getting selected by the Raiders. But they need a free safety. I still think they already have one. We just don't know about it yet. I think they've already come to terms with a veteran free safety. I really do. And it's just, that's why Hurst and Arden Key was cut for money reasons. Because they probably already have a guy in their back pocket. There's too many free safeties out there in the market already that I know the Raiders like. And I have asked several times, by the way, just to let you guys know. I'll give you guys this. What's the plan there? And I've been told over and over again that they're not worried about it. There's still plenty of guys there, but they're not concerned about the free safety position, which tells me they probably already have a verbal agreement with some veteran. Who knows? I don't know if it's Trey Boston or whoever. They have an agreement with someone, and they're freeing up money. They probably won't sign him till after the draft. That guy comes in. They draft a young guy, rookie. They can teach that guy. That's what I'm guessing what's going on. Now, the alternative to that is, imagine the Raiders really go into the season with Jeff Heath as the free safety. If so, you might as well shut off the games because the Raiders are going to get torched. They're going to get killed just like they did last season. But at least this year with Yannick and hopefully, like I said, Quentin Jefferson, they got a ton of dudes. A ton of guys that are just looking for an opportunity here, defensive linemen. Hopefully these guys can prove it. prove to the NFL that, no, man, we're good. We've had some bad luck. We had some injuries. We had this and that, but we are ready to go. And this defensive line can wreak some havoc. Remember, you still got Max Crosby coming off a down year. Now, with all these players, with Yannick on the other side, that's going to make them better. Don't forget about David Irving, by the way. I say it every show, but just don't forget about him. He's going to be good. Carl Nassib, I have no hope in it at all. But maybe he can turn everything around and be good. I don't know. The guy was a healthy scratch pretty much the entire season last year, and he's still with the Raiders because of money reasons. The Raiders did a lot of weird things in free agency with their own players. They brought back Nevin Lawson. I have no idea why. They brought back Jonathan Hankins. There's no need. I mean, guys were running right. This guy was supposed to be a run stuffer and all this stuff. Guys were running right through his gap. He couldn't do nothing about it. I don't know why they brought back some of these guys. I get they brought back Nicholas Morrow because I think that guy's just getting better and better. And he does hold his teammates accountable. And that's good. But Yannick is going to be able to do that now. You know? So he is going to be able to go in there. And this guy, you guys got to understand. This guy is not going to accept losing. I mean, he hates losing. He played with Jacksonville, has seen his fair share of it. He's going into the Raiders, and he's going to be looking at these guys sideways like, hey, listen, time to step up your game. Stop with all the talk, Jonathan Abram. I mean, you're talking all this trash to Cam Newton. Meanwhile, he's just torching you. And Rex Burkhead is running right over you. Rex Burkhead. So stop with the talk and time with the action. That's why Karl Joseph is there to really deliver the hard hits. Maybe to have Abram step up his game. But this defense has to get better. The offense, in my opinion, will be just fine. They are loaded at wide receiver. Tight end, you got Foster, Moreau. I still think, I wouldn't sleep, by the way, that the Raiders don't bring in another tight end. From what I know, John Gruden would really like another tight end who can catch the ball, who's fast. So watch out for that in the draft. Really, that's something to watch out for. Having Darren Waller and another tight end, both guys are threats in the pass game. So watch out for that. Now, I like Foster Moreau a lot, but they might just use him as a blocking tight end, and every once in a while get a pass thrown to him. I mean, hell, John Gruden had Jason Witten take his job last season. I mean, it's dumb, because Foster Moreau, in my opinion, is a pretty good tight end. But if you don't get the opportunity because you got some 50-year-old man who just came out of the broadcast booth taking your spot over nothing, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not like Jason Witten outperformed Foster Moreau. No. Jason Witten was handed the job. He was handed the job. So we shall see what happens with that. Like I said, the draft will be interesting. If the Raiders stay at number 17... do they take a right tackle or left? It doesn't matter. A tackle in general? Or does John Gruden do something else? Does he go after a wide receiver when no one thinks he will? Does he go after, let's say a running back? Does he go after Parsons from Penn State, the best linebacker in the draft? I don't care about his character issues. That's the reason why he might fall to 17. He will be perfect with the Raiders, setting up their future. Hopefully, if he does fall, the Raiders do make the right decision and take him. I just don't have any hope for it. And no one really knows, by the way. You can ask all those reporters. They don't know what the Raiders are going to do because the Raiders don't even know what they're going to do. They'll know on draft day at pick 15 what they're going to do, unless they get a call earlier in the draft about a trade. But they don't know. They don't know. They are open for business. They have informed any team, all the teams, that they will listen to any kind of offers. So you just don't know what the Raiders are going to do. So, I mean, there's no reason to ask all these beat reporters what the Raiders are going to do because they don't know. They don't work for one guy works for the Raiders, but he's on their payroll. But, I mean, that guy just pretty much just Raider propaganda. The rest of the guy, and he doesn't know either. The only one that knows is John Gruden. And he tells Mike Mayock sometimes some stuff. But he's not telling him everything. Mike Mayock didn't even know the Raiders were John Gruden was signing Willie Snead for crying out loud. Mike Mayock was at at BYU, I believe, pro day. And look what happened. John Gruden gets Willie Snead in there because Willie Snead was about to visit the LA Chargers, calls him up, come visit, boom, signs him. That's what Gruden does. So, listen, John Gruden has the final say. Don't let anyone fool you with that. Mike Mayock has the title GM, but John Gruden is running the show. He has the ultimate decision on what the Raiders do. Now, when it comes to defense, he will listen to Mayock, he will listen to Bradley, he will listen to Rod Marinelli and those guys. But when it comes to offense, no one's telling him what to do. I'm telling you that right now. So we shall see. I can't give you a mock draft because I think those are all, like I said, bullshit. A mock draft. They're so stupid. So dumb. None of you people are a general manager in the NFL. None of you people know what's going to happen on draft night. There's trades every single draft, if you noticed. Every draft, there is a trade. Every draft in the first round. Yet people have mock drafts. And no one has an accurate one, by the way. Because it's impossible to know. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, never mind during the draft in 2 weeks. Let's stop it. Like I said, I don't think anything's out of the question. John Gruden taking a wide receiver to a running back, to a linebacker, to a tackle, to a cornerback even. Or a safety. Oh, good, they need one. But I would not sleep on them taking a J.C. Horn, taking a cornerback. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know how much faith they have in Mullins. And remember, Lawson's still there. They don't have faith in Lawson. They re-signed him because he's a veteran. And he's cheap. But how much faith does John Gruden and Gus Bradley really have in Mullins? Or in Damon Arnett, for that matter. How much faith do they have in them? We're going to find out, because if the Raiders do draft a cornerback in the first or second round, that tells me they don't have a lot of faith in those guys. That tells me they're not so sure about that. But they also need some kind of depth there. But listen, they've been drafting all these guys. Think about it. Isaiah Johnson, Amik Robertson, Trayvon Mullins, Damon Arnett. The list goes on and on of these guys they have drafted for the secondary that just have not panned out. And that is Mike Mayock's fault. Because he is scouting these guys and telling Gruden which guys are the best of the best on defense. So he's got to step up his game. The Raiders need to nail this draft. They did okay in free agency. I do have a couple problems with some of the guys they brought back to the team. I think is really unnecessary. But none of them really cost that much money. Speaking of, if you go on TheRaidersDaily.com, you can read an article of some of the free agents they pick up. I give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I'm not a writer. Never really claimed to be. Not really good at grammar, but you can read it. Knowledge over grammar. I just know football. Not really good with punctuation. Not really good with a typewriter. But I can tell you one thing. I can break down a football game like nobody's business. Because I've been doing this since I've been 10 years old. So anyways, that's about it, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll do a public show after the draft. We'll see what happens. Like I said, anything can happen in this draft. Anything. Now, I don't want to say, something crazy like Raiders will trade Derek Carr in a draft. But honestly, I can't tell you that they won't. And I haven't heard that they're going to or anything. But still, it's the draft. Crazy things happen. That's why it will be fun. I guarantee you that. It will be fun unless the Raiders trade out of the first round and just, if they get a second round pick, an early second round pick, grab a safety and go from there. Maybe they get a extra first rounder next year and then go, then they have 2 first round picks next season because they might need it in case Derek Carr does not perform well this season and the Raiders don't make the playoffs. You have 2 first round picks. You can pretty much do anything you want with 2 first round picks. You can move all the way up and grab the best quarterback in college if you really want to. So something to look out for, definitely. Definitely is something to keep your eyes on. It's going to be a fun draft. I will talk to you guys after the draft. thank you for listening to the #1 show in the world. There is no better show, guys. It's proof. There's no show that's this entertaining, that's this fast, that's you get this much knowledge from. It's impossible. I'll put my show up against anyone's in the world, and wait till you see what we got coming in a couple of weeks. It's time for war, and you will see it. I promise you that. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily.